Hey y'all, welcome to Conversations with B. My name is Brandy. I am a self love advocate and a certified life coach. I specialize in mindset changing, healing, growth, self respect, self love, just in itself, all over. So today, y'all, I'm just popping in with a quick word. I'm sitting in my office and I still just been thinking about how to convey this message that I've been getting. So I never understood how much being adaptable would benefit your life. And y'all, when I say adaptable, I'm not talking about the toxic or the negative adaptive. I'm talking about those times when you have to adapt to a certain situation because it's just not in your control. And this takes me back to mainly like when we're kids, we're put into situations where we really just have to adapt, figure out how to move and what works for us in this space, in this setting, and then we move from it. Y'all, I am 30 plus, and just now understanding how I've had to adapt over the years to certain situations within my life that has now blossomed me into this woman of understanding that things are going to happen. The path is not always going to be a straight path, and it's up to me to adapt to the current situation, get the lesson, get what I'm supposed to get out of it, and move forward to the next journey. And y'all, I was literally sitting talking with one of my schoolmates from my first high school that I attended. And we were speaking of the subject about like that particular school. And I was telling her, like, I really just did not enjoy going to that school. Like, I was just the worst person to my parents, just to myself in that moment. And it led me to think about how many changes I've been through over life. When I grew up, y'all, I grew up as the only girl, number one. And also, I always attended a inner city school. So the inner city schools were very different from the outskirts school. The things that we were exposed to was a very fast lifestyle. If you lived on the outskirts, it was kind of like a slower pace and you weren't really exposed to the things that we were exposed to in the city. Y'all, when I went to inner city school for elementary and middle school. I then moved with my dad and my stepmom to a out of the city school, and that was my first year of high school. Y'all, I did not fit in with these people. I did not fit in with them. They didn't know where I came from. They didn't know I was at their school. Nothing. It was just like, who is this new girl that we never seen? We didn't see her in middle school. We have no knowledge of her, and she's different. So I had to adapt and adjust to the environment that I was around. I did a lot of bad things just trying to fit in with the girls there and try to make friends and things like that. I got into a lot of fights as well because I was just a different person at that point. Now, fast forward, y'all, 2 years of being at that school. I later went back to the city and went to an inner city school. Now, y'all, I didn't fit in at this school anymore either. Even though I was a girl that grew up in the city, when I transitioned back from the out of the city school to the in city school, nobody believed that I grew up in the city. It was a totally different person, even though, y'all, I was terrible at my first high school. But all of the lessons that I learned at my first high school of having to adapt and adjust to the way that things were done there, even though I was bad, it gave me all the lessons that I needed. So when I got back to the inner city school, I can be a different version of myself and show them something different, somebody good. Y'all, it was like day and night of who I was out of the city versus in the city. Just my personality, the things that I went after and what I went for, the things that I would sign up for was totally different. Of course, there were still things that I battled because I ended up not going to prom, just, being this person in my head, and I was just like, oh, I'm too grown for that. I wanted to be so much more older and mature than I was, and I missed out on a lot of things. Do I regret those things now? Absolutely, because I don't have prom pictures to show my daughter. I don't have a lot of things that we look forward to experiencing. I don't have Sweet 16 big dress pictures because I thought that I was so grown and I didn't want to do all of these things. So there were certain things that I still was trying to navigate. But once I got back to the city, after adapting and changing and just being this person, I was my best version once I got to the city. I had to adapt now to a culture that I had gotten away from and that I wasn't really familiar with anymore. But learning those lessons and doing all of those bad things and going on my journey at my first high school, once I ended high school, I saw a whole nother person. I went after so many different job opportunities while I was still in school. I had worked my way up to be able to not have to stay at school all day. I took half a days. I was done with my classes and I went to work for the rest of the day. I got an opportunity to work for General Electric. I got the opportunity to work with our fire department at our inspections building downtown in the city. So I started to go after different opportunities, but I don't think if I was willing to adapt and adjust to what was happening right at that moment in my life, I would have missed these opportunities. So let's stop being afraid to use the word adapt to the opportunity or adapt to a situation, because we want to also be the person that stands out and rebel or however, or set the tone or set an example. Sometimes it's not always the time for us to do things different. Sometimes it's a season for us to go through that phase, adapt to where we are, and move through it. Because I don't think if I would have adapted and adjusted and moved through the situations that I went through and just lived my life for those first 2 years of my high school career, that once it was time for me to really buckle down and get down to business to figure out what I was doing with my life, I wouldn't have experienced those necessary tools to adapt and adjust when it was a situation that was so beneficial for me in the long run. So adapting can truly change the dynamic of things. And always remember, y'all, when we are adapting to situations, that situation is not going to be a situation that's going to be around forever. You don't have to go through seasons forever. Everything is meant for us to get the lesson, get the blessing, and move on to the next part of our journey. That's what we're here for. We're here to journey through different stages of our life. And I'm so grateful that I can now think with that mindset to understand that most things are temporary. When we're thinking that things are going so bad, they are temporary and it's going to get better. You're going to see the light on the other side. Just be willing to adapt to the situation, stand firm in it, and be the best. My dad always told me, I don't care where you work at, be the best at everything you do. So if you want to be the person that fried chicken every day at a restaurant, make sure you're the best at frying chicken. So when we're in these situations, we're going to adapt, be our best, and show up as our best every single day and give 100%. And we're going to keep moving through the phase, and we're going to get the next lesson. There's going to be certain situations that you're going to have to adapt to and adjust to, and that's fine. It's okay. So I hope this message that's been on me made sense, y'all, because every time I talk, y'all, I'll be like, oh my God, I wish I could express it the way that I feel it or the way that I seen it. So when these words be fresh on me, I try to just sit down, get it out, and pray. I pray that this makes sense, y'all. But until next time, bye, y'all.